You are now tuning in to the Master Teachers of Yahweh, hosted by the original House of Yisrael, currently located at 1664 California Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. The following lesson is inspired by Yahweh and is ministered and verbalized by the House of Yisrael's first Morah, or female teacher, Hilakiyah Yisrael, also known as Hillary Glass. Please enjoy this lesson. Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, family. All praises to the mighty Yah. Welcome to the House of Israel's live Sabbath day broadcast, founded by the late Morah Israel and co-founded by Morah Israel. The House of Israel seeks to teach the word of Yah in an effort to bring back his people to his righteous laws and commandments. I am Morah Hilakiyah Yisrael, and this is the beginning of our Sabbath day broadcast. We will begin class today by reading Psalms 127. Please turn your Bibles to Psalms 127, and as we face the east and praise our mighty King. Psalms 127. Except Yahweh build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except Yahweh keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are an heritage of Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous all the time. Praise Yah for this beautiful Sabbath day and allowing us another chance to come out and worship him on this beautiful day. This is his holy day, and we are honored and very grateful that Yah has waken us up to his truth, to his knowledge, to his wisdom, so that we can live a good life by following these righteous laws and these righteous commandments that he set before us this day. I want to talk about my visit this week. As you may know, Sister Elder Lillian had her surgery, and it was a success. She is doing great, and she looked great. Her spirits were up. So I want to say thank you all and much love to everyone who went out to visit her, all of you all who called her, all of you all who have sent and are planning to send get well cards. I want to, and for even those of you who was just thinking about her, because believe it or not, even that positive energy goes out into the universe, and Yah sends it back down in the form of health to our elder. And when I saw her, like I said, she was in good spirits. It did not look as if she had just had surgery the day before. They told me that a lot of you all have been out there visiting her. And I want to look at this proverb that Solomon spoke about in chapter 17. Turn to Proverbs 17, verse 22. And I believe this is part of the reason why her spirits were so uplifted. Proverbs 17, verse 22 says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones." So I believe her heart was married because of all the love that you all showed her. And by us trying to keep the commandments of the Almighty, and that we love our neighbor as ourselves. And that also in her case, since she's an elder, we honor our elders, according to the book of Leviticus chapter 19. And we honor the hoary head because we know that they've been here and they've earned the respect that the Almighty wants us to give them because of the wisdom and the knowledge that they can impart to us. And so that merry heart that she had was helping her heal. It was helping her spirit. Just as it says, it do us good like a medicine. So thank you all for your concern and your care and your caring. And while I was out there, she did impart some wisdom and some knowledge to me while I was out there. I mean, she just felt so comfortable talking, and I gave her an ear. And one of the things that she shared was, and it was so ironic because we just spoke on the reason why we do not need immunizations last week. And she was telling me that when the babies were born, she grew up in rural area or in the country, at what we know is Atlanta, Georgia, but she grew up in the rural section or in the country of Atlanta, not the big city that it is now. And she said that when they had babies in those days, and even when she had her children, they rubbed them all over with olive oil from their head to the feet. They just rubbed the babies down with olive oil. And she also told me that her mother used to give them a tonic every year, and it was not something that we call over-the-counter medicine. It was natural medicine, and the basis of it was garlic. She said her mother used to chop up garlic for all the children and say, "Here, eat this." And we're finding out today that garlic is very good for you. It stabilizes your blood pressure. It lowers cholesterol. It is an antiseptic. It fights infections. So garlic is a very good remedy. And so they just chopped it up. She said her mama chopped it up and said, "Here, eat this. This is what you do." So as she talked and as I listened, I said, "Ema, could you please come and give a report on this knowledge, because we need to know these things. This is a lost art because our culture is being lost because this is one of the few nations on the face of the earth that has changed natural medicine for that of, I believe, is it called allopathic? That's the medicine that they practice today, where it's basically just surgery and pills. So this is one of the few nations, this Gentile nation that we live under, that has just totally started to disregard natural medicine. However, it's making a comeback. And even if it takes us to help bring it back, then so be it. Because it hasn't gone anywhere. The same foods and flowers and roots that they used back in the day, they're still available. We might just walk over it. We might not just realize that, hey, I'm stepping over this weed, what they're telling us is a weed, but if we were to do some in-depth research on that weed, we might find out, hey, that dandelion green is actually good for you. So pick it and wash it real good and make a dandelion salad instead of getting some Roundup and spraying the Roundup weed killer on it to kill it. So even if it takes us to bring that back, then so be it. And it can come through our elders, because when they were little, when they were young, these are the things that they used to do. And I had a brother a while back who was very interested in interviewing our elders so we would not lose this information, because it's going to come in handy one day in the future, I really believe, because as pharmaceutical companies become more inclined to have guinea pigs test out their medicines, and people standing up and being strong and saying no, because I trust in Yahweh, and I'm not going to do that to myself or to my children, then these will be good things to know. These are the things that we can turn to. These are the things that we can use to help ourselves. So thank you all for caring about, our elder. And, this won't be the first time any of us will be in a hospital. It won't be the first or the last time. So, just remember the goodness that you can impart and how your spirit, your life, your charisma, how you can affect that person that's ill. And you, by being that life source, you, by bringing those good vibrations, you can be a part of this proverb that says, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. So just keep that in mind and realize that our laws are communal. Our laws are for us and how we interact with Yah first, but also in how we interact with one another. So how we interact with one another, that's how we used to live back in the day in the community. So these are communal laws. You hear me say that a lot, but that's because they are. How we deal with our fellow man, how we deal with our brothers and our sisters, how we regard our elders. So just keep that in mind. Also, I wanted to thank everyone who came out to help Brother Darren on last first day. I heard a lot of you all came out to help the elder, so he didn't have to be here doing all of that work all by himself. So praise Yah that he blessed your spirit to do this. And I heard you all got a lot of work done, and it was good for your children to see you doing these things, because as they grow and as they get older, and even to the point of even when they have their children, they'll remember the ways of their fathers, which is you all, and how you taught them, and how you raised them up, and how you helped to show them what good is, and what a man does, and what a woman does, and how she's to help her neighbor, and how we come together when the need arises. We there because we believe in this. We believe in our cause. This is our place of worship. So praise Yah for your spirit, because the Almighty said he wanted those with a willing heart. And you show your willingness by taking time out from what you may normally do on the first day and coming here. So I wanted to praise Yah for your spirit. So hallelujah. And last thing, not the last thing, but the next thing is Unity Shabbat Luncheon should be July the 27th. And I'll discuss that later with you all after class, but just mark that on your calendar, July 27th. Also, the knowledge bestowed upon us last week by the sisters of the House of Israel was astounding. So I wanted to thank you, sisters, and with a couple brothers as well that went back and made comments. But I want to thank you, sisters, for your knowledge that you shared concerning your knowledge on the dangers of immunizations, including your experiences that you have had with immunizing or not immunizing your children. So I praise y'all for your wisdom and all that you shared. And I could tell that you felt very passionate about this and that you wanted to help your fellow brethren and your sisters. And thank you for that. And I wanted to share this scripture with you. Turn to Psalms 37. I'm getting some feedback up here. Thank you. Let's look at Psalms 37 and verse 30. It says, The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talks of judgment. And judgment is speaking or talking about that which is just, that which is right, and that which is lawful. And that was exhibited last week with the report that the sister gave, along with the comments that the sisters were giving. The mouth was bringing and speaking forth wisdom, because some people may not have been aware of that and may have given their children immunizations through ignorance. But now you all help our people to be aware. Now they are enlightened. And now they have increased in knowledge. And now they can go and do more research and make an informed decision on whether or not they are going to continue to give the immunizations to the children or whether they won't. Whether they'll speak to their family about how they should not give immunizations. So the scripture says, the mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talks of judgment. And because we all, like I said last week, we want to be around. We want to raise strong, healthy children. We want to be around. We want to be around to serve the Almighty. We want to be around to, even if we have fallen short, we want to be around to make amends with the Almighty. So that was a great thing. And our children, they can't speak up. They're totally dependent upon you as a parent to make decisions for them, for you to be an advocate on their behalf, because they can't talk. They just came into this world. So you all as parents have to be on your game, as they say, because the enemy, he wants your babies. He want to get them while they're young. He want to get them unhealthy and on his medicine while they're young. And then they do certain things and say, oh my gosh, we got a raise of increase in childhood diabetes, as if they had nothing to do with that. They throw the rock and then turn around and whistle as if they didn't have anything to do with that. And they're good at that. So as we come and as we speak on wisdom and talk about judgment, we'll be helping not only ourselves, but we'll be helping our people, specifically the most innocent of all, which is our children. Let's hold this and look at Psalms 127, the Psalms we read earlier. Turn to Psalms 127. Psalms 127, verse 3. It says, lo, children are an heritage of Yahweh. So if children are an heritage of the Almighty and the fruit of the womb is his reward, well, how are you going to deal with that reward? How are you going to accept that blessing? How are you going to look out for that blessing? How are you going to be an advocate for that blessing, which is that child that Yahweh has blessed you with? Aren't we going to do everything in our power to keep them safe, to keep them protected, to keep them out of harm's way, and to teach them to go in the right way? Well, yes, that's what we're going to do. That's what we should do, because that's what the Almighty wants us to do. He wants us to talk of these laws to them and raise them up to him. Talk about them all the time. Now, I know they do things as children, but there's a time when you spend that time with them and you teach them about the ways of our fathers, about our culture, about the laws of the Almighty, so that we have them able to, when they get of age, to make good decisions. Because children can make good decisions. Brother Dan told us a story a long time ago that he said his grandsons, he gave us some candy, and he said they put it in their pocket, right? And so that was because their mother had taught them, you just don't, you don't eat, bring it home to me, we'll look at it, and then we'll see if you can have that candy. So in that instance, or in that example that I used, that child was making a good judgment that was taught to him by his mother. So your children will recall to mind the things that you tell them, and that is how you put that armor around them to protect them from the outside world, from doing everything that everybody else is doing. Because there is a word that they use called peer pressure. That means that when everybody is doing something and then you have a person that doesn't do it, that they can be influenced or they can be persuaded to do that what everyone else is doing. So that's called peer pressure. So when you arm your children with the ways of the Almighty and with your words of wisdom, which comes from the Almighty, you placing that armor around them, and you are giving them a defense to stand strong, to withstand peer pressure. So keep that in mind. Don't think that, hey, the baby too young. Not now. Start teaching them very young. And I'm going to go over some scripts later. So let's go back to Psalms 37. I'm going to read verse 30 again and go down to 32. And it says, "The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his Elohim is in his heart, and none of his steps shall slide." Look at verse 32. "The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him." And this is what our enemies is doing to us. It's bad enough that our enemies are doing it to us. Our own people is doing it to us. And even when you read these scriptures, you'll see even your close friends can be doing this to you, the people you call friends. So you got to use wisdom in all accounts. However, in this aspect, I'm speaking of, what we're talking about, the immunizations, and how when our children are born, they saying, give them to me. I'll fix their immunity. But they're not fixing their immunity. They're not building their immunity. If you know the scripture right here, it said the wicked watch the righteous and seeketh to slay him. So when we hand our kids over to him, he may not necessarily be looking out for the best interests in your children. You are your children's best advocate. The wicked's got a job, and his job is right what it said. He watching the righteous and he's seeking to slay him, because in his case, this man that we live under understand that he is only about 1 to 5% of the population of the earth. And the rest of the earth is full of what they call non-white or colored people. So in his grand scheme of things, to keep the white supremacy flowing, he has to have ulterior plans to ensure that his seed will carry on, even if that means annihilating your seed. So our enemies do this to us. They watching us and they seeking to slay us. Do you know that it used to be a time when Gentiles had the highest rate of abortions? But do you know that within the last 10 to 15 years, our people are now the number one people in America getting abortions? I mean, do you think that is a coincidence? That's not a coincidence. That is very much so on purpose. Our enemies have always tried to get rid of us. Even if we look about in the scriptures and see in Exodus, hold this, I wasn't going to turn there, but I'm going to turn there now. Look at Exodus, I believe it's the 2nd chapter, maybe the 1st chapter. to see how the wicked watch the righteous and seek to slay them. They always wanted to get rid of specifically Yahweh's seed. It's the first chapter. Let's see. Let's start at verse 13. This is speaking of there arose a new Pharaoh over the children of Israel, over Egypt, who knew not Joseph and all that Joseph did, and how he saved not only the Egyptians, or not only the world, but saved the Egyptians also by his wisdom, because of those 7 horrible years of famine that they had. So there arose up, let's start at verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, the Egyptians, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there followed out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So this is what the Pharaoh say, hey, we got to do something about this. They not only more than us in number, but they are mightier than us too. They're mightier than we are. So we got to do something. We got to look ahead. Like Sensei always say, this man is 50 years ahead on what he's going to do. Just the way downtown looks now and how nice it is, they knew that they were going to do that 50 years ago. So this is how this this is how Pharaoh is saying, we got to deal with them. Because if during this time they break out a war, we doomed. They'll be done joined to our enemies and smite us, so we got to do something to them. We got to deal with them. So the first thing they did was set taskmasters over us to afflict us with burdens. Verse 12. Now check this out. However, the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And I'm laughing because see, they have a plot and a plan against us. But see, we got the true and living Creator. So the more that your enemy is coming out against you to harm you, the more that Yah is coming to our aid and to our rescue. So don't be scared of what man can do to you. Don't be worried about his plots and his attempts and his scheming. Because as long as you got Yahweh, man, it ain't nothing that they can do to devise against you to cut you off, because you got to live in Elohim. So read that again. But that means to the contrary of everything this Pharaoh was trying to do to get rid of us. But the more that they afflicted them, which is the Hebrew Israelites. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And they were grieved because their attempts at sabotage didn't work. That's why they were grieved and angry and upset. Because we just read, the wicked watch the righteous and seek to slay him. But Yahweh got the back of the righteous. Yah is going to sustain the righteous. So don't worry about them. And that's why when we always talk about working on the Sabbath day, you know, we be fearing for what the man is going to say. The man is going to say to us if we don't want to work on the Sabbath day, or if we stand our ground and say, no, this Yahweh's day. This is the day I go give him praise. This is the day I reverence him. I'm going to thank him for everything he did for me and my family. No, I'm not working for you on the Sabbath day. Our people, that's a challenge to them, to some of them. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, because Yah, he come to your aid. In other words, if you stand up for righteousness, Yah will come to your aid, to your rescue. So it might seem a evil thing if you lose that job. But when you know how to count your blessings, you'll say, well, I may have lost the job, but then when the positiveness come and you know how to count your blessings, you say, well, Yahweh give me another job. Yahweh give me a better job than this. Why? Because I stood on his principles. I stood on what he wanted me to do. Fear not what man can do unto you. Now, see, our people went through way worse than losing a job, because this man, the worst he could do to you if you say you don't want to work on the Sabbath day is what? Well, sir, we asking that you don't come back, clean out your desk. We got the box waiting for you over there. Put all your items in there, and we'll mail you your last check. That's it. If we can't stand up to that, how are we going to stand up when your life is on the line? The type of things that our forefathers went through when faced with life and death. That's a small thing. To get fired, that's it? That's all you can do? Well, nice knowing you, nice working here. Shalom. And go about your way. But our people was faced with death. Now, can you stand for Yah then when your life is on the line? What you gonna do then? You cave into a man, and the worst he was gonna do was gonna fire you? Well, can you cave into a man when the worst he wanna do is hang you, or throw you in the fiery furnace, or put your eyes out, or threaten you with death? See, these things, we got to overcome these so-called small things first, because you got to realize it's going to be a day when you got to choose life or death, literally. So you have to build up your strength. It said the fear of Yah is strong confidence. So that means you stand firm on his law regardless of what man can do to you. That's what them Hebrew brothers did. That's what a lot of our people did in their trials and their tribulations. Daniel, he opened up that window. He knew the decree was written that anybody that had prayed to in their case, the way they worded, to their God, was going to be in danger of being thrown in the lion's den. But he went home, he did the same thing that he always did. He opened them windows up, knelt down, and prayed to the Almighty. And sure enough, here they coming to get him, saying, hey, you got to go to the lion's den. He could have made another choice, but he didn't. Why? Because he served Yah. He served the true and living King. So, let's continue on with this. Exodus 1.
Hey,
yes, sir.
I'm glad you talked on that, because then the fear of man brings a snare.
Yes, it does.
That brings a snare to yourself.
Yeah.
That puts you in the tangle.
Yes.
And hinder you from being righteous.
Right.
You know what I mean? That brings a snare for you.
Yes. It'll bring a snare and hinder you. It'll hinder your development, and it'll hinder your relationship with the Almighty. Because we're supposed to grow in our ways with the Almighty. We're supposed to be trying to get better and better and stronger, just like that Proverbs, the 2nd chapter, say, the path of the just is as the shining light that shines more and more and more into that perfect day. So right, we don't want to do anything that'll hinder that journey, that'll hinder our growth. Exactly.
What happens, a lot of people like that.
And it say, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh will deliver him out of all of them. But we got to we got to taste and see that he is good. You got to taste, you know. You got to keep that confidence in the Almighty. But yeah, that's a good situation. I actually know somebody that's going through that right now, you know, haven't worked in a while. And then when they did, you know, they got to work on the Sabbath day, you know. So we just got to thank you, Brother Dan, for that wisdom. Let's look at, verse 12 again. But the more they afflicted them, yes, sir, Brother Dan, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. We're in Exodus chapter 1, verse 13, for those who just came in. And the Egyptians, verse 13, made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. Sound familiar? Just like our forefathers was toiling away on this land also. No new thing under the sun. This is history repeating itself. Let's start at verse 13 again. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve in rigor. In modern times, it was the Caucasians that made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Verse 14, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and brick, and in all manner of service in the field. We was picking cotton up here, picking up rice, picking up beans. We were in all manner of service in the field up here. When I'm saying up here, I mean right, you know, in America, just a couple hundred years ago, 200 years ago. Verse 14 near the end, it says, all their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Same way it was when we were here in America 200 years ago. And as if that wasn't enough, the main point I was trying to get to is right here in the 15th and these verses right here. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared Elohim, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. So don't let these people tell you we didn't keep the laws in the land of our captivity. Here go an example right here. They didn't say, oh, we at the mercy of the king of Egypt. We can't make no informed decision. We can't do that which is right. Because I hear that a lot. You can't keep these laws in America. Don't let them tell you that. We take these laws wherever we go. If I was to move to Brazil right now, I still take these laws with me. If I was to move to China right now, I still walk in the laws of the Almighty. Right here, verse 16, verse 15. Verse 17. It says, but the midwives feared Elohim, even in captivity. They feared the Most High, and they went against the commandment of the high man himself, the high Pharaoh himself. They did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. Verse 18, and the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and they're delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. So he said, so their answer was, well, our women ain't like y'all women. Our women are delivered of their children even before we get there. That's what they said to him. Therefore, verse 20, and this is what Brother Dan said, don't fear the face of man, or the fear of man bringeth a snare, no matter who he is. Our people have dealt with kings. We can't deal with our bosses. Our people have dealt with kings and have dealt with the higher-ups and the highest of the land. Our people dealt with Nebuchadnezzar. Our people done dealing with the king of Egypt. And look what happened. Verse 20. Therefore Elohim dealt well with the midwives. See, when we keep the commandments of Yah, you are pleasing the Almighty. There's nothing he won't withhold from his children when we are doing that which is lawful and right. He comes to your aid. He comes and rescues you. He hears your prayers. So they stood up to the king of Egypt and said, no, we're not going to do that. And then they did not do it. Verse 20 says, therefore Elohim dealt well with the midwives, and our people, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. Verse 21, and it came to pass, because the midwives feared Elohim, that he made them houses. So Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born you shall cast in the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. And so that's what I'm saying now. They out to get us. Even now, they're against us. And just as the proverb said that we read, the wicked, that was Psalms 37, the wicked watch the righteous and seeketh to slay him. There's no new thing under the sun. But, so therefore we have to be an advocate for our children. And in this case right here, these midwives were blessed because they kept the commandments. Oh, by the way, Pharaoh, we also have a commandment that we should not murder. So we're not about to sit here and go against our Creator and murder our own babies. Do we look like a nut? Do we look like we are abnormal to you? Do we look insane? Do we look like we're going to regard your word over Yahweh's word? And no, they didn't. They held fast to the Almighty, and the Almighty blessed them. He blessed them greatly. And our people continued to grow and to multiply. So Pharaoh had to then go charge his own people and then get that commandment to them. Well, y'all, this is y'all job now, you know, and it's the same way now in America. They done charged all their people in the schools. Believe it or not, I hate to say that, but in the schools, because they helping to destroy our minds. In these clinics and in these doctor's offices and in these hospitals, you have to be aware of what's going on, because this is your enemy, and he's out to get you. He's out to get you to turn away from the Almighty, but he's also out to take your life. So let's go back to Psalms 37. And we read that Exodus 1 to prove that the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay them. And this is what our enemies are doing to us even unto this day. They're teaching us that abortions is a good thing. It's permissible here. You can have an abortion from when you first conceive. I ain't gonna call it no abortion. I'm gonna call it what it is. Murder. It's legal murder that they call abortion. That was in a song long time ago we heard by Steel Pulse, and it's called Wild Goose Chase. And that was the first time I ever heard that word, those two words together. Legal murder in America. That's what abortion is. It's legal murder. So when you get pregnant and they're saying that you as a woman, you control your body, so you make the choice, you have a decision to make, and you can have an abortion in America at any time. It was just a law that was just passed today that I think in Texas, they're about to stop it after 5 months. But they even have something called a partial birth murder. Partial birth abortion. That is when the woman is in her 3rd trimester. Now, this baby is formed and everything. I mean, they're formed even before the 3rd trimester. But your stomach is out. Your baby it's visible that you are pregnant. And what they do is, I don't even know if I should even mention this because it's just horrible. What they do is, but we have to be aware. This is the kind of man that we dealing with. And this is the kind of man we putting our trust in with everything that's around us. But we have to say, hey, no, I'm about to question that. I'm about to do some research on that. You know, but a partial birth abortion is when a woman is in her 3rd trimester, and what is happening, they'll give you the medicine that'll make you go into labor. I forgot what that medicine is called. And what they do is the baby is partially born. In other words, it's halfway in the vagina and it's halfway out. And they have these long surgical scissors that they snap the spinal cord and kills the baby. And then they deliver the baby the rest of the way out and it's dead. And this is something that is legal in the United States of America. Did that sound horrible to y'all? Yeah. So this is the type of man that we're dealing with. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that picture Brother Darren showed us that over at his house all those years ago. Yeah, it was. I remember it was like they was cut up in pieces and put in buckets. It was like a bucket or something. Then the horrible about that also is that ain't the only thing they do. They then take those the babies that are dead, and sell them to corporations. And they make their way into all kinds of products. So you could be possibly eating these babies, wearing these babies. This man don't waste nothing. If he can make $1 off of it, he will. So they don't think for a minute that they're going and burying the babies. They're selling them just like they sell roadkill. The little possum that you see dead in the street, or little squirrels that's been run over, or a raccoon that's bloated and flies is all on them, that don't go to waste. They take them to what's called a rendering plant, and they sell that stuff to a corporation. And that's what they do. That is this man's practice right here. So let's go back to Psalms 37. Yeah, this is the kind of man we dealing with. That's right. So if you don't think you need to research whatever he tell you, I'm telling you, you better research it. Here, take this pill and call me in the morning. You might not be alive in the morning. You better look and see what it is he giving you and do your own research. You got these smartphones. We got access to the internet. You can go to the library and use their computer if you don't have one at the home, and see what's going on and what the side effects is. Don't pay no attention to them commercials where they got people holding hands and riding bikes but talking about a pill and the side effects. The people ain't listening to what's being said. They watching their picture. They know when they make that commercial and they naming all the side effects of these pills, and you can have this and experience this, and you can experience this, and it might give you a heart attack, and it might give you a stroke, and it might cause explosive diarrhea, and it might cause you to be impotent. But long as the people on there riding bikes and smiling and jumping in the lake and eating a strawberry, and they know how the brain works. They know that what you see is more important than what you hearing. Why you think they can sit there and say all of that stuff and the people will go the next day and ask the doctor for that pill? Because they know that when they made that commercial, long as they got somebody on there living a good life, living it up, looking like they healed, then you could go and get that same pill and live like them, because they know your eyesight, what you seeing, is more stronger than what they telling you on that commercial. So we were at Proverbs. I'm sorry, I keep saying Proverbs because that's my book. That's probably why I like that book. So let's go back to Psalms 37. We read verse 32 that said, the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. And we use Exodus 1 as an example. So let's go to verse 33 that says, therefore Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged, because the Almighty is going to come, like we said earlier, to our rescue. Just cry out to the Almighty. Now let's look at verse 28. We're going to go back up and look at verse 28. It says, and we read in verse 30 how his tongue talks of judgment. Now look at verse 28. For Yahweh loved judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. But it's the seed of the wicked that's going to be cut off. The ones that's out to harm people. The one that's acting maliciously against his neighbor. The ones that have forgotten the covenant and the laws and the statutes of the Almighty. The ones that's greedy for gain. The ones that's looking and plotting on how to hurt and rob and steal from their brother. Them the one that has walking hand in hand with iniquity. Those are the ones that's going to get cut off. But it says, Yah love judgment. He loves when you sit around and you meditating in his laws and you calling people and y'all strengthening each other, like the proverb said, iron sharpeneth iron. So a man is sharpening the wisdom and the knowledge of his friend. I know I don't say that verbatim, but that's what I get out of it. But, the Almighty loves a tongue that's talking of judgment. And it says he won't forsake his saints. Did he forsake them two women that kept his commandment? Those two midwives? No, he didn't. Even in the land of their captivity, he saw them fearing him and he blessed them. Did he forsake Daniel in that lion's den? So don't be scared of 10 lions if that's where you got to go. Keep your confidence in the Almighty. Was those brothers worried about that furnace that was hot as heck being turned up in their eyesight and in their ear sight and feeling the heat coming through the doors and watching the flame? No, they didn't. They stood fast with the Almighty. They had already made their heart and made their decision firm on what it was they was going to do. We keeping your law, Yahweh. Verse 28, for Yahweh loved judgment, and he loved coming to your rescue, because even when he saved you, he come to your aid. He know that you as his righteous servant is going to glorify him. And you will. To your enemies. So don't keep that in your heart. Glorify the Almighty. Give him his praise. Show the world what he has done for you. So he says, verse 28, for Yahweh loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints. They're preserved forever. But it's the seed of the wicked that's going to be cut off. So sisters, back to the report on immunizations. The Almighty loved your words that exalted him. And so I did want to bring this point out, Yemuel. I don't know if Sister Dawn is watching, but if not, you could go back and tell her this, that last week she spoke on the benefits of the colostrum that comes out of the mother's breast, when the baby is first born. It's a whitish or a clearish liquid called colostrum. Well, guess what? Everything she said was true, because I went and did some more research on it, and I found this out. That colostrum is referred to as the first milk. Although the color isn't white, and it's usually clear to a yellowish color, it's referred to as the first milk. And it's also called high octane milk. This article said that when you feed your baby colostrum, or in other words, when it's born and you put it on the breast, because it's made in that's like the first thing the baby gets when it's born, is colostrum. When you feed your baby the colostrum, you're actually giving him his first immunization, because the antibodies protect your newborn against, guess what? Bacteria and viruses. And that's what they said that their vaccine do. Their vaccines do. They say that their vaccines protect you from bacteria and viruses. But guess what? So what we're seeing is Yahweh say, do what I say, I got you covered. You ain't got to let them shoot your baby up with their version of an immunization. Yah said, I already got you covered. I done made this human body. I've been doing this for years. You ain't got to listen to them. This man just now learned how to wash his hands after he dealing with something nasty. He just now learning that washing your hands is the best way to prevent disease. Are you serious? We're going to take your word over the Almighty's word? No, we not. No, we not. Yahweh got this covered. Do what he say do. Put your baby on that breast, and it will have everything that it needs to be healthy and to survive, and it's protected against these bacteria and these viruses that are out in their environment. So listen, young daughters. Listen, internet audience. Listen, young men, because you'll be husbands one day. Young men, you'll have children one day. And you can encourage your wives to breastfeed your newborn, because time just goes on and on and on. I remember when I was 10. I remember when I was 20. I remember when I was 30. Now I'm 43. So time goes on and on and on. I remember when you was very little, but look how old you are now, Brother Jamal. You know, I've been watching you come to this class for years. I remember you was about this big. How old are you now? 20. So this brother is going into an age where he'll be seeking out a wife, and then he'll multiply, and then he'll have children. So that's how time goes on and on and on. So this knowledge, you know, you've been getting for all these years. Now, when you are as a husband and you in your household and you have a wife, you can recall these things to mind. Awesome. Yes, sir.
About something that's very important. Now you talking about all the nutrients and stuff that comes within the body. That's why the Almighty gave us the dietary law.
Right.
If we eat the right foods and stuff, that's where we get the benefits.
Yes. Yes.
If we eat White Castles, McDonald's and stuff like that, that's no nutrition whatsoever. We're not going to give nothing.
And we say, oh, but it's so good. Oh, but it's so convenient. But, oh, you're going to pay a price. Your body can handle those kind of bad foods when you're young. But, hey, but Brother Dan saying it's true. The Almighty gave us a dietary law. Yes. Right, how to eat to live. The Muslims wrote a book on how to eat to live. And actually, I found out that they spoke to Hebrew Israelites in writing that book. But we just turned to our history book, which is the so-called Old Testament, which I like what Daniel called it, is the scriptures of truth for our guidance. And the Almighty shows us how to eat. And he says he give us every herb-bearing seed for meat, and also Leviticus 11 on the land animals that the meats that we can eat. So yes, we follow his dietary law, and like I was mentioning the other day, when they getting rid of the seeds out of fruits. It's gonna be a time when a kid is gonna think that a watermelon has looked like that forever. They already think that grapes don't have seeds in them. But there was a time when the foods that I just named had seeds in them. And I'm telling you that a lot of the nutrients is in those seeds. So when you get a watermelon that has seeds in them, chew the seeds up and eat them. Your teeth are strong enough for them. Chew the seeds up and swallow them, because that is actually the nucleus of the plant. It's seeds. In other words, the fruit is really just protecting the seeds. You eat the fruit, but you also eat and chew the seeds. Now, I'm not telling you to chew up some of the harder seeds, like the cherry seed. That's pretty hard. But the ones that you can chew up, like watermelon seeds, and get you grapes, they call them globe grapes with the seeds in them. Chew them up. I have been reading on the internet that they are finding out that apricot kernels, dry apricot kernels, is a cancer fighter. People are curing cancer by eating apricot kernels. Even inside of a peach pit, guess what's in there? A seed. I break it open when I can and get it out. It's very bitter, but I chew it and you eat it. Your liver loves anything that's bitter. So, the Almighty has given us a dietary law on how we eat, and it starts on the breast, and then we continue it on by giving our children healthy foods, and that's how you keep your immunity built up. Absolutely. So, Yim, don't forget to tell Sister Donna. I don't know if she's watching, but just tell her she was absolutely right, and as well as what the other sister said, was a lot of wisdom in that also. So let's go and turn to Isaiah 28. Before I go there, hold at Isaiah 28 and look at Proverbs 14 and 15 real quick. I'm going to visit that just real quick. 14, 15. Hold Isaiah 28. 14, verse 15. Speaking on our subject matter and what we taught last week, we had a report called Why We Don't Need Immunizations. Proverbs 14 and 15 reads, "The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his goings." So as we were speaking earlier about, we tend to have a lot of trust, in our doctors and our teachers and in people in higher up positions. It's not good to believe every word, especially when it's coming from your enemy. Look what the next part says. "But the prudent man looketh well to his going." Prudent means one who uses good judgment in handling matters. One who is circumspect, one who is cautious, one who is heedful, and one who is wise. So that's the kind of person that looketh well to his going. We don't believe every word. You research, you search out. We believe Yah's word because we already know that when we research and search out, that's true. That has proven itself for thousands of years. But when your enemy is giving you something, just remember, the simple believe every word, but we want to be prudent. We want to be somebody that's using discretion, because it says discretion is going to keep you, right? We want to be one who uses caution, especially from our enemies. So we just want to look well to our way in everything that we do. So I just wanted to bring that out before looking at Isaiah 28. And this is one of the scriptures that we've read many times over the years. Verse 9, it says, "Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts." So it just goes to show that when we seek out our culture and our ways, that our foremothers were giving our children milk through their breasts. We breastfed our babies. We kept our babies strong through breast milk. So the scripture is asking, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? And doctrine is just a rule or a principle of law. It's our dogma. It's our laws of the Almighty. And the answer is them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Because now, once you're weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, you are able to learn laws and morals. You're able to learn what's right and what's wrong. You touch that stove, baby, that's hot. Don't touch the stove. I remember when we was little, my brother Hilakiyah, had a hairpin toddling over to that outlet. Guess what he did with it? Stuck it in there. Praise God, he didn't die, but his afro grew. His afro grew about 3 more inches. I'm telling you, so he ain't never do that again. And back in the day, I stuck my finger in a fan. Now, those fans back in the day, they weren't made out of plastic. It was made out of, iron blades, steel blades. Woo! Oh, it hurt so bad, but we did those things and we learned from it. And now what the scripture is saying, now son, I'm going to show you, now that you've drawn from the breast and drawn from the milk, now son, or now daughter, I will show you more knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, and you increase it as the child grows. And we, even us, we have to have that same spirit as that child that's weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Because that child that's at that age, and it's a little debate on, not a debate, but the age at which you wean your child is up to the parents. I have read in some cases it could be 3 years old, and some it may be 2. But we still talking about that age range of maybe before 5. We have to have that same spirit as a toddler would be or would have toward their parent. We, just as that baby is looking toward his parent for nourishment, for enlightenment, for safety, and show me, mama, which way do I go? And they look at, sometimes when kids, if you watch them, they look at you to see before they do something. Should I? And your look, give them an answer like, okay. Or, no. And that's how we got to be toward Yahweh. So we'll look toward Yahweh. Should we, Yahweh? Should we do this? And when we search his word and he say, I hate that right there. I despise that. We got to be like that baby, okay? When we won't do that, then we have to have that same spirit. Just as that baby trusts his parents, we have to in turn trust Yahweh. We have to have that humble and meek spirit to trust that what Yahweh say, that he knows best, not us. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Ooh, it feel good. Why? Because Yahweh turn here. He said he hate that. So then we have to say, okay, Yahweh, you know what's best. I'm going to be satisfied from myself. I'm not going to do that which you hate, which you despise. I'm going to trust in you, Yah. So that's how we have to be. That's why I say, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and are drawn from the breast. Let's go to Psalms 131.
Hey, a lot of people don't believe that. Now, you're talking about a young child, right?
Or maybe that's what I was just saying about, it depends how they do it. 2 to 3, 1, 2, 3,
I know because I'm talking to certain people in this class like that. And then they don't by the way, you don't kid. How can you understand what I'm talking about?
Hey.
That amazes them, but if you look at what the scriptures are telling you, that could be done.
Yeah.
It's not something that Almighty that could be done.
Right. Yes, it can be. Absolutely.
It can be done.
Yes, he did. No doubt about it. It say train up a child.
Right.
Well, what age is that? 1, 2, 1. Can it be 1? Yeah. Yes, it can be 1. Can it be 10 months? Yes. It depends what it is, but yes, it can be. Absolutely.
It's a slow process.
Yes.
It's a slow process.
Right. But and also We shouldn't let that deter us as parents. You don't wait until they 5 and 6. That could be too late. Yes, go ahead.
Saying when a child can learn. When a child is a baby, I was saying this, if I was born, if my mother talked to me so if you talk to me in English, that's how this child learns English even when he's a baby. So the child is learning regardless. As you speak to him and as you rock him or put him to sleep. So
oh yes.
what age that child is learning.
Right, hey. Yeah. They finding that out too. Right, absolutely. They finding that out too. They finding out that a baby can recognize its daddy's voice like the minute that it's born because of the reaction that it had when it came out of the womb, but because the daddy was talking to the baby while it was inside the womb, that when it came out, it recognized that voice because when he heard the voice, it was responses that they measured in the study. The same way with the mama's voice, yes. So even then, and these, they want to get rid of these babies when they in the womb. They want to call it a fetus. Yahweh call it a child. And our foremother, Rebecca, was that Rebecca? She said, if I'm thus, why are these children struggling in the womb? We call them children. Even in the womb, they were known as children. We didn't have no different name for them in the womb than out of the womb. And it was told to her that they was in her womb fighting. The children were in the womb fighting in the womb. For real? That's what it said. They was in the womb fighting each other. So they wanted, we listen to them. If we listen to our enemy, that's a fetus. That's nothing. Get rid of it if you want to. I'll suck it out and sell it to a lipstick corporation or whatever, and you'll be wearing your baby. I mean, really? No, we're not going to listen to them. And Yahweh called it a child. Yes, it's a child, even in the womb. But yes, it recognizes, it is aware at a very early age. Absolutely. Psalms 131. This is a Psalm of David. And just as I was saying about how we look to the Almighty, we trust in the Almighty like a baby trusting his parent. Is there, anyway, y'all can cut that down a little bit. Psalms 131. Verse 2 says, I'll start at verse 1. Oh, wow, I can read the whole thing. Yahweh, my heart is not haughty, neither or nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. Verse 2, surely I have behaved and quieted myself as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child. Let Israel hope in Yah from henceforth and forever. Hallelujah. So right here, David is saying, my heart is not haughty, because the first thing y'all say in Proverbs 6 are the things he hates. 6 things do Yahweh hate, yet 7 are an abomination. The first thing he says is what? That's Proverbs 6. I'm sorry, I got to go look there. A proud look. That's what I wanted to say. A proud look. So, David, that's what David say right here. My heart is not haughty. I was just making sure that the first thing that Yahweh said that he hate is a proud look. So not to be prideful, and a know-it-all for evil. David says, neither is his eyes lofty, neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. But I have instead behaved and quieted myself as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child. And there's a reason why he used this particular example of a weaned child, because a child that is still on the breast is not able to exhibit any control. When that baby is hungry, he gonna let you know. We gonna cry. Why? You know, they when they little babies, I have seen babies grab the mama's shirt, pull it down, and get to crying. When they want it now. I have seen them, when they in the mama's arm, they slide down into position. That is a suckling child. That's what you call a suckling child, or a child that is still on the breast. But right here, he uses the example of a weaned child. Now, the reason why is because a weaned child, now he's off of the breast. He is able to exhibit some control. He can sit in his mama's lap and not be pulling her shirt all up, because he's not on the breast anymore. He's getting his nourishment from a cup, or from the apples or the oranges or whatever it is he's eating. He's not on the breast anymore. He's not out of control. And when he needs it right there, he's not like that. So that's why David is saying, I behaved and quieted myself, even as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child. He's more calmer, but he's also trusting now. He, like that baby, like that child, is trusting in the mother and trusting in his parents to show him what to do, and trusting in that parent that, I'm hungry, mama. You know, the parent is going to meet that child's need. And that's how David is behaving. I'm learning about you, Yah. I've got some control now. I know that you don't like haughtiness. I know you don't like pride, but I'm humbling myself to you and to your laws. I'm going to walk in your laws. I'm going to walk in your way. Just like a baby, when they start, as they grow, like for instance, they couldn't walk real good. You know, fall down, stand up, talk, fall down, try to get back up. They a little wobbly, but after so long, they got it.
The House of Yisrael would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to the master teachers of Yahweh. This specific lesson was taught by Morah Hilakiyah. Her name means Yahweh is my portion. She touched many servants of the Almighty within a short time frame and became a matriarchal framework to sisters across the world. Her beautiful smile and kind spirit warms our memories as we continue to honor her dynamic teachings. We would like to send our condolences to Hilakiyah and Micaiah Yisrael, her two brothers, and also the nieces and nephews of our great teacher. March 10th is a special day as we honor both Morah and our beloved Morah. Let us all say hallelujah as we take all the precious qualities of our resting master teachers and apply them to our life as we continue on in the land of the living. For more videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to upload more content. Give this video a thumbs up and please share this video to spread the message. You never know whom you may touch. Tune in to the weekly Sabbath day broadcast at 12 p.m. or come and congregate with us in our sanctuary. We are located at 1664 California Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Until the next time, on the Master Teachers of Yahweh. Shalom.